Howdy folks, my name is Effing Controller, and this game you're looking at right now is Pathways into Darkness, and it was made by a company called Bungie Software back in 1993. And in case you're not familiar with this game, which is reasonable, it's somewhat obscure, you might be better acquainted with its descendants. This game is generally considered to be something of a spiritual prequel, at least, to the Marathon series of games, which were also made by Bungie. And Marathon, in turn, is considered maybe not a prequel to Halo, but at least an inspiration to it. So, I would say, I think it's fair to say that this is Halo's grandpappy that we're looking at right here. As you can see, it looks sort of odd. It is being played on an old Mac OS 7.6 environment. This was among the earliest of the Macintosh first-person shooters, and the reason I'm playing it is basically just that a lot of these Mac-only titles hold a very special place in my heart because I grew up with a Mac, and PC titles like Doom or Wolf 3D or any of the other fantastic shooters or other titles for that matter, all of them took a long time to make it over to the Mac. Now, with that having been said, I wouldn't necessarily call this one of my all-time favorites on the Mac because I didn't play it all that much. The reason for that was that Marathon had already come out by the time this game, by the time I became aware of this game, so I didn't really feel the need to play it all that much because Marathon basically does everything this game does, but a lot better. Although, with that having been said, I like to allege myself to be a classic Mac gamer. And this is a pretty glaring omission from my repertoire. I played through a couple of the levels to start with, and I feel like I owe it a little bit more than that. So it's an iconic game for the Mac. First of all, it cemented Bungie as a viable company. It was critically acclaimed. It sold well, and for that reason, and the fact that it's just a pretty decent game from what I've been playing of it again, it stands in the pantheon of Mac gaming. The small, but steadfast, and, let's be honest, mildly annoying pantheon of Mac gaming. And as I've said, it does have some drawbacks. You're looking at one right now, which is the kind of silly UI. It's got a lot of white space. And we'll get to some of the other drawbacks shortly. They're surmountable. They're not a big deal. I guess I should talk a little bit about what this game is about, because I've been rambling just about thoughts for the past 3 minutes or so. The year is 1994. So we're gaming in the Clinton years, and we're part of a military special ops team that has been sent to the Yucatan Peninsula to find a pyramid and to then descend into its subterranean base and plant a timed low-yield nuclear device there. Now, you might be saying, why are we doing this? Well, I'm afraid that's classified, but fortunately, it's printed in the manual. So, the reason is this. Millions of years ago, an asteroid crashed into the Yucatan Peninsula and caused a major extinction event, which I think is mentioned in Jurassic Park. And this asteroid was, in fact, the body of a near-dead alien god that had been gravely wounded in some crazy space battle millions of years ago, and it just so happened that its course carried it into the Earth. And it lay dormant in its crater after its arrival here, but in recent years, strange creatures and phenomena have been observed in the area, and in fact, to explore these reports, the German army, back in 1930 or so, the 1930s, we'll just say, sent an expedition to find and explore the pyramid, but they never returned. And all of this information comes to light when an alien ambassador named Ryutoth crashes a party at the Pentagon. The president and the top brass are having some kind of big meeting there, and he's like, hey guys, I come from space, and guess what? You have a week to live, or a little over a week. So talk amongst yourselves. Apparently he made a convincing case, so hence our trip to Mexico, I guess. So the plan is to detonate this nuclear device directly above where the god is sleeping so that it is essentially stunned. We're not going to kill it or anything. This is just going to buy us time so that the aliens, who are called the Jaro, the species that Ryu Toth comes from, so that the aliens can come and finish the job. Now, unfortunately for us, we had a little bit of a mishap when we deployed here. Our parachute did not quite work. So we had a hard landing, our gear was scattered all over the jungle. Fortunately, another team member had the nuclear device, so we don't have to worry about that, but we do have to worry about catching up with them. So let's go ahead and get to it. And I should mention right now that, well, that I mentioned earlier, I haven't played through a ton of this game, so I'm going to be relying somewhat heavily on a guide that is written by a gentleman named Hamish Sinclair. And you're welcome to check it out at pid.bungie.org. It's a good read. Now, we're wandering into the pyramid. We are seeing some interesting stuff already. A few little bits and bobs here. We have a blue rune. Very mysterious. And we pick up a Walther P4 magazine. How peculiar. Now, this is just saying that if you walk over stuff, you pick it up. That's the gist of that. And then we have a very, very dead German soldier. And this is explaining to us that we can just go to the actions menu up at the top to pick things up, or if you're a savvy Mac user like me, just hit Control or Command G. Oh man, I've been using Windows too long. Command G. Open Apple if you prefer. So we're going to pick up the Walther P4 pistol. Nice. We get a little point for that. Points are used in this game to basically, it's experience essentially. There are certain items that will grant us points. There's a copy of Mein Kampf on this German soldier. We have no need for that. It's just there for flavor, for delicious Mein Kampf flavor. Now, as I mentioned, we did have a little bit of a crash landing, so we only have a few items. We have been picking some stuff up, but we need to go ahead and equip our knife. Now, you might be saying to yourself, effing controller, you silly Billy, what are you thinking? You've got a gun, why are you using a knife? The answer to that, my friend, is that you don't want to use your ammunition unless you absolutely have to. So we're not going to. We're not going to use it just yet. Now, the main floor of the pyramid is not all that fascinating, I guess. There's only a few different places to go. I'm going to go ahead and save my game here, though. These red runes are where you can save. You can't just save anywhere. So now, I'm going to go up this ladder. We're on a level called Never Stop Firing, which is bad advice. We're going to just stab things. Now, these guys are the best. And by best, I mean worst. Oh, God. I'm already not doing well. Now, I wanted to talk about how much I love these guys. Because they are, frankly, ridiculous. They are headless. Is the name of their species, I guess. And I'm tickled pink when I fight these things. Because look at them. They look like the WB frog. With a giant betoothed mouth where its head should be, and a tongue that's kind of lolling around like blah, 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 blah. Look at them. They're just impossible to hate. Even though they are annoying and make silly sounds, I just love them to bits. Now, we got one coming in here, and I'm going to have to start moving back. Now, the trick with these is that you can strafe away ever so gently away from their projectiles, but you have to strafe away from them, and then you have to kind of charge in and attack them. Now, charging in, I say that in the loosest possible terms. This is our charging speed. This is our strafing speed. We move like a goddamn van, but we'll make it, possibly. It's pretty tough, actually. I mean, those projectiles don't move terribly fast, but what will happen to me is I will end up getting caught up against a wall or doing something stupid like that, and I'll die. I'll try not to do that for you guys, but no promises. Now, we do have a handy-dandy map. Now, okay, the reason I did that, you might have been thinking, again, effing, just back off, strafe away. with blazing speed. If you stab them, sometimes it stuns them. It stops their attack. So it was a little bit of a gamble. I didn't think I could strafe away in time anyhow. So there's a door here. If you walk in the... I'll show you the map first. That'll actually kind of explain. So everything is broken down into squares. If you walk in the square next to a door that can open, it will open. Now, I got up and touched the door, basically. But don't let that fool you. That door was going to open. Now, that stratagem did not work in that case with the stabbing. I think you can search headlesses, but I doubt that I don't think I've ever found anything on one. I could be wrong. I would love to be proven wrong on that account. I just love how they squeak. They're just ridiculous. And they do really remind me of the WB frog. Except, you know, kind of a sickly beige color instead of green. They just need the top hat and the cane. So, stereo sound is actually a feature of this game, but I could not hear what direction that shot came from, so... Alright. Definitely a very strange game. I will grant you all that. It is odd and confusing. But I think it's pretty cool. And again, this is 1993. This is a Mac title that was meant to fill the void. And I think it does a very admirable job. Not just in the sense that, well, it's a game, so it fills the void, but just that it's a decent game. It's not bad. Although, again, I'm bad at it, so you might hear me lamenting it at certain points. Just know that I truly do love it. Sometimes I say things that I know will hurt it, but I don't mean these things. It was the heat of the moment, telling me what my heart meant. Heat of the moment shown in my eyes. Song references. Kids love those. One thing that is kind of difficult to master about this, too, is where you're actually hitting things, if that makes sense. That was poorly done. I think my finger slipped. Blame the controller. I might actually scurry back to the entrance. The reason for that is that I can possibly rest safely there. So resting is a good way to get your hit points back. Although, we do have a timeline. As I mentioned, Ryuta said, hey, you got a week. Show me what you got. And if you rest too long, you burn too much time. You'll notice that we have a digital watch on our person. Oh, turn that on. Can I examine it? I thought I could examine it for some reason and get the actual time, but doesn't matter. We do have a limited amount of time to complete our mission, is the point that I'm trying to make. So we have to move a little bit quicker than our than our feet seem to be prepared to allow us. And resting is a luxury. If you rest, it's, you know, obviously there's times when you have to if you don't want to die, but it does burn time. It burns an hour for each point of health that I think you heal. I'm going to go ahead and save here, too. And then we'll go down. Now, I know I said something about how we're supposed to go down in the pyramid. And I also know something that I said earlier about not using the gun. I'm going to load up my gun. The reason is that when you rest, sometimes you'll be jarred awake by a friendly neighborhood headless. And we're going to go ahead and stop resting. Well, that was too late. That hour of rest was wasted, but that's okay, because I didn't need to rest that long. But we're at full health, looking sharp. I should have saved there. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to have a sip of my decaf coffee. You'll notice that thanks to this system timer in the upper right-hand corner, that it is 10:04 p.m. And since I am an old person at a Saturnine 31 years old, I'm drinking decaf. I think I've talked about my caffeine intake and my various struggles therewith. Is that a word? I think it is. I'm going to go ahead and stake the claim. Oh, God. I'm getting better at this. I have to say, I gave this a few kind of dry runs. I was bad. I did not do well. As much as I found the headlesses to be endearing, now that's actually an interesting point that I just came up with. Is the plural headlesses? I'm sure this is addressed somewhere. It should probably just be headless, like fish or deer. But who knows? I'm sure somebody at Bungie knows. And there's another one shooting at me. There's two over there. Now, worth noting, you just saw that there. That wasn't what was worth noting. What was worth noting was not the fact that you saw a thing. It was the thing that you saw. And that thing that you saw was that the enemies can do friendly fire to each other. Very important. It's kind of a nice, nice thing. These pillars, by the way, they occupy an entire square. You cannot walk around them. There are broken pillars, which I think you can walk around, but we'll find out, maybe. There's all kinds of bullets everywhere. What the hell's going on here? All these magazines. What is this? A dentist's office? And, oh, we have a new enemy. That is a zombie. And, they're kind of a pain in the ass. There he is. Walking like an Egyptian. Now, hang on. I'm going to go ahead and use my pistol here. It's not necessary. But it's just that their bones move a little quicker. That you can see that he threw a bone, as opposed to the green goo. Their bones actually move pretty quickly that they throw. They also, I was just searching that pile of ash that is the remains of the zombie. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, they do more melee damage too. As you can see, well, and their projectiles, I think, do more damage as well. So, they're not to be trifled with. That door is sealed. So, we'll have to probably go up in there. But we could also go up in there. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in there. Up in there. So we'll have to backtrack. That's one thing about this game too. I've said there's a lot of things about this game, and boy howdy, it's just full of things. It's not a strictly linear game. I didn't show this at the entry, but there are two paths you can take to start. One is to this level, Never Stop Firing. The other is to a level called Lock and Load. And, oh, that's actually... Oh, I can go through there. That's where I'm going. This is the easier of the two levels, and I found that out the hard way. Especially if you're going to be sticking to your knife. I think I'm going the right way. Oh, so that's sealed. So maybe we need to go up there. Well, we'll save, since we're in the neighborhood. I think that that's reasonable. One of the few reasonable things I will probably do throughout this playthrough. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. I mean, tell me you don't see it. I don't know why they sound like seagulls either. I'm going to back up. Not a good spot to be. That was foolish. Thought I could let him get close and dodge or something. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. It's 10:09. I'm an old person. Leave me alone. That was really stupid too. Maybe this hallway will be our Waterloo. Let's move that. Also, I should probably focus on business here. See, that was that stun effect that happened there. I think it actually registers it before the damage occurs. Like, it will stop the enemy's attack and then register damage. It's very peculiar. That's just my hunch. Yeah. See, like, it looked like he was about to attack there. But he didn't. He chickened out. What a miserable wuss. I'm gonna go ahead and actually rest here. So it's generally not advisable to rest before an area that you haven't explored, like right here. Because I think that that's where the game, it kind of works, like, there are enemies that are planted in certain spots, and those enemies, when you're resting, will possibly wander, I think. So if you're not familiar with the area, generally not a good idea to rest. This is going well so far. Just sidestep. See, that was a situation where I could have sidestepped into a wall, which I've done plenty of times. See, now, like, I wasn't even looking at that thing and it opened. That's what I'm talking about. And the reason you have to be careful of that kind of stuff is that you can open up a chamber that is full of things. Now, this is an area that I've already explored, so it's full of dead things, which is good. You could, I guess, consider it like a trap or something. I don't know. There is another enemy over there. Gotta time it just right. And that was just poor. Oh my god. See, your spatial awareness is really hindered. There is no mouse look. There is sort of. I should say, actually, there is a little bit of mouse look, but it is terrible. It does not work for me. I will show you once I'm in a safer spot. Switch over to that. So far, this is not a safe place. Okay, we'll just show it real quick. It's under preferences. And movement, mouse. So that's really more of an apt description than mouse look. It's mouse move. Like, you can direct your little character here with your mouse, but it doesn't help you that much. I find it difficult to control that way. I've tried it. Believe me, I've tried. But it's not worth it. There's a magazine there. My god. We're loaded for bear. And for wolf, he said poignantly. And there is another. All these bullets makes one think. That crazy crocodile fella there, very peculiar. Uh-oh. Excuse me. Hello, walls. I don't like having those big empty corridors ahead of me. Let's... Okay, it didn't open. Hello. And that's the reason why, is that you don't know what's down there. You can, if you're feeling particularly frisky, turn off your flashlight, which greatly decreases your viewing range. Don't do it. Now, this is a long mission. You might be tempted to say, oh, where the fuck did you come from? You would be tempted to say that in a situation like that. You might be tempted to turn off your flashlight and instead turn on your heart light and let it shine wherever you go. However, you would be ill-advised to do that, because it just makes for a lot of very unpleasant surprises. This is, after all, called Pathways into Darkness. And you need your flashlight to stand as a beacon in the darkness. Oh, hi. Okay, so let's I was gonna say let's strategize, but instead let's just kill them. Let's just run up and stab him. That's a great Sun Tzu adage, I think. While the enemy is running at you with his naked body and his tongue waving in the air, run up and stab him. Positive that's Sun Tzu. Boy, we're making a lot of progress here, folks. I think we're doing pretty gall-darn well with the stabbing and the occasional shooting. And you are the worst. I'm hanging in there. I'm kind of a badass at this. I heard multiple shots there. I don't know where that other one came from. Oh dear. So we're gonna back away. Charge! Okay. They're very slowly getting away, sir. This was pretty mind-blowing to me when I saw it. Even though, like I said, I had seen Marathon probably prior to this. I'm not 100% on that. You know, I'm going to try to stab this guy. Make no bones about it, you're dead. Also, I'm a terrible person. There's a chain. There's a long iron chain here hanging from a hole in the ceiling. Do you want to pull it? Okay, well that seemed to go well. Heard a noise in the distance, and we have more or less fully explored this floor. We'll have to probably find another chain to pull. I happen to know that we do. I'm going to rest quickly. Oh. What exactly is that stuff? Should I think about it at all? Probably not. Okay, so let's head back to the save point. We could cut across to the other area where the chain is. Like I say, I have it under some authority that there's another chain. That opens. Does that get us anywhere convenient? Yeah. Not really, actually. Never mind. The map can be a little bit hard to read. Especially when we're in these pathways that are in the darkness. I guess, you know, the pathways themselves, they're not really in the darkness. They're just leading us into the darkness. Am I being a little bit too persnickety there? I don't know. Let's save. Okay. And there are some respawns. You'll notice that we were attacked brutally by a headless that was in an area I had thought that we had cleared. I'm pretty sure that the game will occasionally respawn some things. And that's mostly if you dilly-dally, like I've been doing. But we had to do what we had to do. I've actually been taking a fairly direct route through the catacombs here. Okay, I think we're going the right way. Oh yeah. I'm a regular Magellan. Wandering, we're walking, we're motivating, and yes. How did I get turned around here? It's interesting that I didn't proceed through here. Well, easily disoriented. Gotta be headless coming up. Not there. Really? Aha. Aha! Let's use the gun. And I dodged into a wall, and I'm out of bullets, and there you go. That's how that's done. The bones that we see on the floor here do not generally have anything of interest in them. Like, you could search, but you won't find anything. Let's pull this chain. Okay. But they will occasionally hide items beneath them just by the way that the sprite is drawn. So we will possibly end up walking over those quite a bit. Those smaller bones, don't worry about them. These rocks, too, sometimes will conceal things. Golly, hello. See, that was a respawn. I would never lie to you. I'm going to motivate over to the... Well, you know what? Let's actually just go ahead and go there. Yeah. And I can fill in the time with my thoughts on life. You know, you just got to be decent to each other, folks. When you're walking these pathways into darkness, remember that you're walking these pathways together with a friend. And that friend's name is Effing Controller. There's a new enemy there. I should probably stop dispensing advice that would make even Bob Ross throw up into his hat. But who am I kidding? Bob Ross would never wear a hat. He has no need. Or had no need. God rest his soul. I'm going to save the game. And, yeah, we'll just head directly to that. I'll be interested to hear if people do want me to off-screen areas like this where I've been here before. We all know this. We all know this area pretty well at this point. Now, I'm going to check this broken pillar hypothesis. Nope, that's still very much an object. That is still not walk-throughable. Now we can go all the way to the top. We do not get any points for killing things, by the way, as far as I know. Except for those points that might be incidental to things that are dropped by the things we kill. I haven't been checking the bodies very much, but I'm relatively certain that they don't give us anything. So this door is open. This door was the one that was opened by the chains. And what do we have here? The yellow crystal. And note that we now have 3 points. Look at us and our points. What does this do? It seems to hum in our hand. To begin charging the yellow crystal, double-click on it. Discharge it by pressing tab while standing over a dead person to talk to them. That's amazing. Let's double-click that sucker. And it will charge up forthwith. And I will head back to the save point. But what I'll do, we'll just rejoin once we get back to that first level. Because we've been playing for a good half hour now. And I think it's high time that we took ourselves a little break. So, until then, this has been Effing Controller, playing Pathways into Darkness. Catch you guys later.